Well, I thought I'd come down to the homestead, show you the latest. Get in there slowly. Now that little shed there, which was actually a chicken coop, that is now down. And I might try and use some of the panels as a roof on the shed, just to give it some added protection. So all this is going to be burnt. So there we go, there's the concrete base there. That should be enough for the shed. Right, well, seeing as we're down here, may as well go and have a look at the river. It's nice to hear the sound of the water. There we have it. I won't go down to the water. Just being, look at that over there. Just through the trees. Can you see it? There is a rhododendron there. They seem to be like weeds up here. They're all over the place. Certainly quite full once the leaves come on the trees, isn't it? I'm just looking here. This may be some comfrey. Is it? No, I don't think it. Well, it could be. Don't get too close. I might slide down the bank. But it's nice to just come and listen to the water. I'm thinking about possibly putting some seeds in there. Get some of the grass out. Looks a lot bigger now that that chicken coop is down. Look at this old-fashioned saw. Need 2 people to use that. I'm not going to keep it though. I want this homestead to be quite clean. And the problem with having homesteads and allotments, it's very easy to get into the habit of storing things. I'm thinking I'll keep that because one day I might want to use it for something. So let's go this way. So where that water butt is there, here, this is where my part of the land starts. Because I'm actually sharing this with somebody else. But we've put this post in, and then that is the dividing line, because the whole land is 100 foot by about 40 foot. So I've got this top half. So mine is 50 foot by 40. So that chicken coop is going. So if I just stand back here, that then is a very good indication of the size of land that I've got, which is more than enough for me. Been a muggy sort of day today. Started off sunny and warm, and then became very muggy as the day went on. Down on the homeland, it's a sunny day, but it's a bit of a nip in the air, so I'm hoping by doing this shed I'll soon warm up. Now, I set a time-lapse camera to film the progress, so it's going to be tough because I'm by myself, and you do really need to have two people, but let's get on with it. Right, let's start with the base. Just got no strength. Oh, the sun has certainly gone in. Black clouds chasing around me. the panels prepared now, and next is the tricky task of trying to hold them up while screwing them together. I must say, I do feel as if I haven't got as much strength as I have in the past, but we'll crack on and do as much as I can anyway. There are lots of black clouds circling overhead, so I'm hoping I can get this done before any rain appears. There you go. A little bit for the video there. Right, here we go then. Hi. Yeah. Radio. Okay, that's fine. Right. Okay. Okay, then bye. Bye. Right, let me take a few pictures. So this is where I've got to so far. I've got the floor down and the three sides. So there's just this one side of the roof. I don't know if I've got taller over the years, or sheds are just getting smaller. But at the moment, nothing is different between the height of me and the door there. Anyway, it's only a temporary measure. I can save up enough money to build my own shed. Hopefully with the roof on top it'll be a bit taller, but let's get on, because those black clouds are coming. Right, just work out which one is the side now, which one is the roof. Ah, right. Now I was just about to put the fourth panel on, and I remembered my friend Rip Van Man, who ended up locking himself in the shed. I just remembered. Just need to undo this screw. That should open the door. And the one down the bottom as well. There's one down here. There we go. Right, I can go ahead now. Put that fourth wall in. Good job I saw that, otherwise I would be locking myself in like Rick did. I'll put a link to his video below. There we go. No, I want to, but I know they're just side by side. So, that's what I'm saying. This panel is a bit warped. I'll mention that on the video. No, it looks good, but this panel was warped in the rain. I'll try my best, but I think I'm going to have to wait until I have a second pair of hands in order to push that in while I drill it from the inside. I'll do as good a job as I can in the meantime. Push it from the inside. Switch the microphone on. Now this is where I've got to so far. But this panel here is warped where it's been out in the rain. So I need a second body to push against that while I drill it. So I'll do the best job as I can. Right? Right, try and put this roof on. This is the fun part. Oh, let me finish this first. My drill is dying. Right, I've just tacked those two up for the time being. It doesn't look straight from this area, from this angle, but it'll do. It's only a shed. Not like we're trying to build a bowling pavilion or something. It feels nice to be back in a shed again. Oh, cup of tea time now, isn't it? Now, because the glass disappeared on that last allotment site, I thought I would like glass, but for the time being I might just put some cheap perspex in, just to get it watertight. And we've got these hooks here, so we can open it up when it gets too hot in the summer. But to be honest, this shed is more about coming in to shelter on those really hot days, and a place to come and relax and have a cup of tea. So let's just go outside. So there it is. See, it sort of slots in. So that's, and it sort of makes it then firmer. It sort of firms up the whole thing. So I'm really impressed by it. Although I'm thinking, maybe I've got to that age where it's cheaper to pay the extra £100 and have them to build it. Although it wasn't that bad, I just feel a bit shattered. So when I get a friend down, we'll just refit that one a bit more before I then tack the sides onto the floor. Well, it's gone 8 o'clock. I thought I would just take a wander down to the homestead. It does make a difference to have a shed. Let's go inside. It seems to be when you're inside here, obviously because there's no glass in the windows, the sound of the river feels more intense. My freezer is due to turn up tomorrow, so hopefully, let's hope everything goes according to plan. I do have to pop out for an hour, and I'm hoping they don't come when I'm out and about. So, what are we going to do with this shed then? Maybe a few tables and chairs. I haven't planned anything other than a space for a kitchen to have a cup of tea, and maybe, like I've done in previous sheds, a bit of a day bed to have a little sleep of an afternoon, isn't it? You know, it can't be all play. I've also got some ideas. I'm going to use the side of this as the internal wall for another shed that I want to build next door to it, but a thin shed, but with 2 doors. One door on this side to get access to the tools, then there'll be a wall in the middle, and then on this side with a door accessed from this side will be a compost toilet. That's the plan, and I'm going to build that myself. And then next door to that, and I don't know how big or small it's going to be, I'm thinking about building my own greenhouse. So all this side here will be buildings, the infrastructure of the homestead. If you just look, you can see there are stones all around the side, and that is because this used to have a greenhouse on. So if we come over here, this is where I want to put some woodland trees and make a sort of woodland. But I'm not fixed on that idea. It could just all be herbaceous borders. That's just a thought I've got about fir trees, and then keeping them at about 6 foot tall to sort of make it blend into the mountain. And as for the corrugated sheets at the back, then I quite like them. So maybe a clematis going down the back of it. In fact, if you take a look at it from this direction, you can see that where the greenhouse stood, there is a path next door. So I may stick to the same pattern, and to be honest, that's the size of a greenhouse from the path on the left down to the shed. It's quite a nice size, because this tool shed I'm thinking about and the compost toilets, it's not going to be big. I don't know, 4 foot at the widest. As long as there's enough room in the compost toilet for you to swing your arms around, that'll do me. And then the entrance to the greenhouse will be on this side. And then in time, this fence will go. I can just sit here and look at the river. Now don't forget, this black chicken coop will be going. So that cold frame is in a nice spot there, because if I can get some glass to go on top of it, maybe some old window panes, probably 3 of them, then it's in a sheltered spot then. The wind, I don't think, will be down this side. So the wind won't catch them and fly them up. But look at that, even after just a day, you can already see what this spot is going to be like, can't you? I've started buying plants. I know, I try not to. I've always said, don't buy plants until you've got the space ready. But there were lots of end of spring sales on. Oh, it's getting quite chilly. It's been a beautiful day here in Wales. But I've come down because I just wanted to have a little walk through to think to myself about where things are going. As you can see, the chicken coop is nearly gone. So we got the shed here. Originally I was thinking about putting the tool shed here and the toilet there, but I've now thought it would be better to put it to the side of the shed, and then here can be a greenhouse all the way up to the existing path. Here I was thinking about putting those fir trees, but it dawned on me there's a disease going through all the fir trees here, and I don't want to spend that amount of money if they're just going to die. So I'm thinking this side could be a pond. Do you remember that very large pond that I had in London? Maybe something like that here. And who knows, maybe with a waterfall. I've also got to find a space for my compost bins. And now that I'm here, I think they could go by the side of the greenhouse. There's still enough space for a wheelbarrow, but is there enough space for me to wield a shovel, a spade, and to turn it over? So maybe the compost bins could go here, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then there's still enough space to walk behind. So this, I'm thinking, like I said, a pond and herbaceous border. I'm going to get a grape, a red seedless grape, I think. So this would be the start of the vegetable and fruit section. So the grape could go down the side, because I'm not going to garden all the way up to the fence. I'm going to put a path going down this side, I think. Let me just check. Make sure the cats have come home. Yes, they have. So I'm going to put a path there and try and square. I do like things to be squared. So I'll square it off to here, and down this side we'll have a grapevine. So I've got all this fruit coming. I've got raspberries, and the raspberry that I've ordered is Yellow Antwerp, which was from the Victorian Kitchen Garden, which is a TV series that I absolutely loved. So I've got Yellow Antwerp coming and White Dutch white currants, but I've also got, so I've got 1 white currant, 1 black currant and 1 red currant. So they need to go somewhere. I've also got, I think I might have bought raspberries, I'm not sure, but I've got gooseberries, two gooseberries coming. So there'll be a path down the middle. I'll work out exactly where the middle is, and that's where the path will go. So I could put the fruit up here, just before you walk down the garden. There could be fruit on either side to act as a hedge, although saying that, I do have 5 or 6 lavender bushes coming. And the original plan was to put them there. This is why I think it's good just to be on the land for a bit. Just walk around and see what it says to me. Although this part of the plot does get some shade on this side. So all this will be veg. And if I get apples and pears, I'm going to get the cordon varieties and use them as a fence at the end of the plot. So where could these currant bushes go? I think it would have to be there, and maybe the lavender bushes can go on each side of the doorway before I go into the shed. Once that's down, the place will look a lot bigger. I'm keeping the cold frame on that side. That's staying. But come up to the shed, I'll just talk you through the plans that I've got for the greenhouse. So we're stood inside the greenhouse now, and I'm going to use this in the greenhouse. So I only have to build 2 sides and a door entrance. So all this is going to be painted black. I have a black preservative coming in the post. And what I've realised is, what I'm doing here is taking all those lessons that I've learned on my other plots and going to incorporate them into this, which is my forever land. So this will be black, because the last time I painted a shed black, it looked really, really nice. So this will have shelves on for my pots and things. Then there'll be a workbench maybe down on both sides, so it will be exactly the same size as the shed. So that's more than enough space for me. In fact, it might be a bit too big, because I intend to go all the way down to there. I'm presuming the door will be on that side. But it is, seeing as if it's a self-build, the door could go anywhere. So maybe here. Maybe the door will go there. I'll have to work out how far this opens. There we go. So maybe the door can go here somewhere. Then I can just walk in, have all my stuff up, my pots, and then work away there. I quite like that idea. Like I've said before, sometimes you just have to be in the space and the space talks to you. So I'll come this way if I want to go to the compost toilet. And then if I want the tools, I'll go around there and go into the tool shed here. Again, this is a lot bigger than I thought. But if I put the tool shed and the toilet here, the compost toilet, then all I need to do is put a roof and two sides, because I'm utilising these. I have a lot of corrugated iron down there, so I'm going to put some on the roof. And I'm thinking if I can get a battery operated angle grinder, then I could cut some of them up and use them as compost bins. Right, the midges are starting, so I'm not going to be down here for much longer. But I quite like the idea of a pond there and a waterfall. How I would make that happen, at the moment, I do not know. So then I can be in the greenhouse doing my things, looking at the plot. A lot of people asked why the windows are on the other side. That's because the plan is I'll be able to sit, or there'll be a seat there, so I can sit and look at the river. And because I always intended on using this as a wall to put shelves on. So these are where the struts are. Put long nails in, long screws. I have quite a few shelves of all my pots. When the greenhouse is going to be done, I do not know. It all depends on the cost, because the cost of wood is quite high. But the important thing is to start turning over this bed here to put the fruit in. And if all the fruit is in a line, then I could build some form of a structure, like a piece of wood and wood going out through the side with netting on. So if the birds get a bit too friendly for the fruit, I can then put the net over it and everybody's dandy. I've just had my dinner. I had a Sunday lunch on a Saturday. Living the dream. It's nice just to come down. When I went to Too Good to Waste, I bought a few little knickknacks, all for the shed. A few little useful things like an oil lamp, so I can be down here in the night. I did want one of the storm lamps, but they just sold them apparently. The one that they had was sold out. So I will keep an eye out for a storm lamp. But for the time being, I've got an old-fashioned lamp. I would love them in the house, but I don't want to with the cats. So I think if I act a bit sharpish in the next 2 weeks, possibly 3, and got a bed ready, I could get some stuff in this year. Because I was talking to a friend in London, and we are about a month behind London. Right, these midges now are really causing havoc. So I'm going to head home, have a good old cup of tea, maybe a bath to warm up. So I'll catch up with you in a few days anyway. So from me until then, bye for now. Bye. Well, that went off without a hitch. And they raised a few smiles in the village as I drove past. So this is the first part that I'm going to develop, and this is where all the plants are going that I've been buying. I'm thinking one massive border of flowers and maybe fruit, because I wanted the fruit to go where that old chicken coop is. So if I can get hold of the guy that had it before me, he's taking it down, he wants to keep the wood, I'll come down and give him a hand, and then the fruit can go there. But for the time being, they're in pots, so they can stay there for a bit longer, and they can go in the shade up here. I still need to put the windows in, but like everything else, it comes down to cost, so it will get done when it gets done. Now these are 8 foot. Will they fit? Well, they should do. It's an 8-foot shed. Right, I've done that. Now I'm going to go home, have a cup of tea. I might have dinner because I'm quite hungry now. And then I'll start bringing the plants down. But I must say, it is an absolutely glorious day, and there's even a bit of heat in the sun. So, have a look at the grand reveal. This is what the seat looks like in the shed. I've just been sat there now, having a Greg's pasty, and it's quite a nice spot. Although, because the windows aren't in yet, I need to get some, well, I would like to get some glass, but I think I'm going to have to go for perspex just as a temporary fix. But without the windows being there, being sat here, that river sounds very noisy. In fact, just before I go home, because I've got some chicken with me that needs to go in the fridge. Let's have a quick look at the waters. Take in the waters. Oh, it's nice and cool here, I must say. Beautiful. I'll probably come back down later because I still need to bring some of the plants down. But just feeling that sun kiss your cheek, it's a beautiful feeling. So there we have it. Brought the first of the flowers down, and I must say they're looking well at home. Well, it's gone 6 o'clock, and I feel like I've wasted the day, to be honest. With this medical condition that I've got, called ME, if you have an unexpected spurt of adrenaline, you then crash on the other side and become very tired and very weak very quickly. And that is what's happened this afternoon. I've just slept and slept and slept a bit more, and now I've woken up and it's gone 6 o'clock. So I need to take it easy. So the plans that I had today have all flown out of the window, all because of a bee. I wanted to start putting in the trees, but I just haven't got the strength. So I thought, to try and rescue the day and to get a video for you to see, I would at least come down to the land and just spend some time down here, because it is good when you have a garden to come at different points just to see where the sun falls, see where the shady spots are, if there are any nearby trees that need to be cut back. So it's not that much of a, I've tried to save something of the day. Now, the first question is, where are my tools going to go? Because I've got these hooks. So we need a section to make tea. I do have a table that's coming down, so maybe they need to be on this wall. That does make sense, doesn't it? To have them close to the door. So a few of them could go, at least 1, 2, 3. What I'll do is, I won't put them up today because I don't want to put them onto the actual shed. I'll get a piece of wood, attach it to these battens and then put them on. And also it'd be handy if I could do it with the actual tools. But the plants themselves are doing really well. Some of them coming into flower, and this rose is just bursting to come into bloom. So here are my thoughts so far. Shed, greenhouse, there's a path going down here. So at the back will be 3 compost bins, and then all this area here, the plan is just for flowers, but I'm going to see if I can try and somehow put a small pond here as well. So this is the path. I'm thinking about maybe putting a new entrance here. So you'd walk in, have the flowers, the greenhouse, the shed, and then all this side will be vegetables with a path probably down the middle there. But maybe this bit here will be for the fruit, because I'm probably going to have to put a fruit cage on top to stop the birds from coming in. And then this section here is the cold frame. Although I could put the fruit, now that I'm here, I could put the fruit in this section down here, and then square that piece off just as a fruit strip, and then the veg, they'll have 2 large beds then to themselves. But it makes more sense to put the fruit trees down here, because if I put them there, they'll create shade onto my plot. Whereas if I put them down the side, and I have 6 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, put them down the side there, then they won't cast any shade on the veg. I think sometimes it's good just to be on site, walk around, and sometimes a garden will actually speak to you and say, this is, this will work here, that will work there. And a lot of people have asked, why is the window on the wrong side? This will be the inside of the greenhouse, and the plan is this will be the seating area overlooking the river. And I'm thinking, put like a picture frame, put a few poles up, and then run grapes down the side of the river there. That's the plan anyway. Let's go and check on the river, see if anything's going on. I say, is anything going on, because when I was down here the other day, there were ducks playing outside here. See, there's all this that needs to be cut back in order to generate a view. Now, I was in the house and it's been quite a hot day today, but it has started to cool down now, so I thought I'd come down to the shed and start painting it. But it was such a long time ago since I bought the paint, I can't even remember what colour it is. So you'll get as much of a surprise as I will. It is a Ronix coloured wood preserve. Oh, that's interesting, because I thought it was a Ronseal one. Shall I tell you what the colour is, or do you want to wait and see? Right, let me just pop down here and tip it in, and I'll be back. Okay, well, I must say, it's very thin. I don't think I've ever had a paint as thin as this before. And the colour is charcoal. This is very thin. What's gone wrong? Is it because it's been in the heat all day? I'm doing this tonight because I may go and get the... Look how thin it is. What's gone wrong? I may go and get the downpipe so I can set up the water butt tomorrow. Which, to be honest, I'm surprised the whole thing is costing so much money to get the downpipe and put it on. I'll put the price up on screen, how much it's cost so far. This feels wrong, this does, doesn't it? I did shake it before I started, but I don't know. The last time I did this, I only had to do it the once. Well, this video's like watching paint dry, isn't it? But it's a nice evening tonight. It'd be even nicer if this wasn't so thin. Anyway, stop complaining. Nice to hear the sound of the river. So I think that is this video. So if you're expecting something else, you might want to jog on and come back on another day. This is called watching paint dry. Maybe that's what I should call it. Watching thin paint dry. I've never known the like of it before. Now, shall I do the trim? Or shall I do that a different colour, like you see in those old pictures, you know, in the wall, when the window frames are painted green or something? Not that anybody's going to see it, other than you on the video. That's why we need to go to town. We need to make it look good for when you come and visit. I do like a black shed, and against popular belief, when I've done this before, it doesn't get hot. So that's the only thing that I learned from physics in school, was that black attracts heat and white doesn't, and white pushes it away. That's why the houses in Spain are painted white. I suspect their paint is a lot thicker than this. Don't know what's wrong with it. It's the cost of living, I suppose. Right, I need to go around here, so mind your back. Don't complain to me if you get a bit of paint on your bodies. Yeah, I thought it'd be a nice relaxing task to do tonight. Remind you, I'm just thinking about the musical Paint Your Wagon. I bet their paint was a bit thicker. I'm gonna definitely have to go over this a few times, won't I? And it wasn't, well, I can't remember what the price is. Maybe it'll get thicker the further down the pot I go. Yes, I think I might do the window either white or dark green. I wonder if this is the paint that should be used with a sprayer. Maybe I bought the wrong one. Oh well. I've started, so I'll finish. I'll do as much as I can tonight before I get bored. Can you still see? I can't see what you can see. Can you see? Right. Let me move over this side then. Can you see me? Because I can't see anything. It's too hot. Too much sun for the camera. I was thinking about doing this as a live video. I did one the other day. A live stream. And depending on cost and if there's any interest, I was thinking about setting up a 24-hour live stream camera down on the land here. So whatever time of day or night, you can just tune in and see what's going on. Maybe I'll be here, maybe I won't be here. You won't know. It'll be a surprise. I got the idea from a narrowboat channel that I tune into, that they stream 24 hours a day. So if you catch it at the right time, you can see them out on a cruise, or you can see the boat just sat there. Might be a good idea to do it just as I take down this fence, then we can monitor to see whether the ducks come in. So I counted about eight of them. Oh, this is getting a bit heavy. Alright, I wonder if I could put it there without causing a commotion. I feel a Frank Spencer moment coming up. Away, missus. No, I'll just rest it. Going to see Phantom of the Opera later in the week. Not in London, local amateur production. I'll be interested to see how they stage it, because I worked for quite a few years on the London production, doing videos for them, so I've seen Phantom many a time. In fact, a friend of mine is currently playing the lead in the West End, so if you want to go and see my friend John Robbins, he's currently playing the Phantom at Her Majesty's Theatre. That's the thing. I wonder if they've changed the names to His Majesty's or whether they've just kept it. I bet they've got thicker paint than this there. So I'll be interested to see how an amateur production stages it and how they drop the chandelier and things. And I know that on one performance this week, they're going to be visited by the pianist from the London production. He is in the area at the moment, and I know he's bought a ticket to go and see it. So that'll add a bit of nerves for the cast and crew. They do that sometimes. When an amateur production is putting on a show, they will send somebody from the office to go to watch it just to make sure that they haven't changed any of the script or any of the staging. And if they have, then they can be fined. What do you think? Does it give the vibe of old cabin in the woods? I was watching Tyler and Todd. Do you watch them? They're based out of Nova Scotia. And they've bought a house recently by the lake. And they've just built a pier that goes out about, I don't know, about half a mile it seems on the video. So they've got their own private pier, so they can go out and sit in the middle of the lake. And in the winter, the lake freezes over so they can skate on it. But the pier, I thought, maybe that's an idea for me. Maybe I could have a pier here. I can go across the river and have a deck in the middle of the river. I'm only kidding. But am I though? I don't think I will ever use the window. I did think about possibly blocking up the window. So rather than buying glass, I'll give you an update on that as well. Rather than buying glass, I'd thought about maybe just putting a bit of wood on top. But then I thought during the winter it would be quite nice to sit in there, maybe with a wood burning stove. That's the idea. And I'll be able to look out. But yes, the glass. I'll give you an update on that. I contacted the company I bought the shed off. And I said to them that the glass is gone. I can't find the glass. And before I buy some new glass, could they give me the drawings so that I could send them to the new people? So that I would be buying glass that would fit the space. Because I could measure it myself, but you know what it's like. If you measure it wrong by an inch or by a point of a point or whatever, then they wouldn't fit. So I looked online this morning, and every glass company I found had an issue with their site. So after I went through all the rigmarole of putting in the dimensions, I then went to go and pay for it, and then there was an issue. So I thought this for a game of tin soldiers. I will buy acrylic. So I bought acrylic glass, which is a lot cheaper, because to get proper glass, a lot of them were asking for £80 just as a starting price. I did buy something, so I bought a trellis for the rose, and it was £30 for a 8-foot panel. And I thought, that's a good price. So I clicked to buy it, and then when I went to look on my card, they had taken £50. So I thought, what's going on here? So I gave them a phone call, and in the small writing, it was £20 for the delivery charge. So I've had to pay it. But I won't get stung like that again. It's a week of being stung, isn't it? Stung in the pocket and stung on the head. So that should turn up in the next few days. Both the trellis and the acrylic. No, it's called Perspex clear glass. So if I've done it correctly, it'll be exactly the right size, and it will fit in here. I can hear the ice cream man. It's usually a man. Do you have one of them? Somebody who drives around the streets selling ice creams, chalk ices and ice creams. And also, the other day, I managed to catch it on film. The Rag and Bone Man. He goes around nearly every week. He's now going around at a sensible time, because he was going around at 7:30 in the morning and waking up the whole village. Rag and bone, rag and bone. That's how I'm going to get rid of some of the pieces of corrugated iron that aren't that good. I'm going to see if he wants them. He can come and have them for free. Now, back in my young day, when the Rag and Bone Man came around the street, you got a fish. You got a goldfish in a bag. But they don't do that now. And you would be desperately asking family and friends, have you got anything for the Rag and Bone Man? Because our fish is dead and I want to get a new fish. But these traditions are still going on. Although there is one tradition that I remember that doesn't go on. In fact, two. One of them was the monkey. You could go to the local market in the 70s and 80s and have your picture taken with a monkey, which I have. And the other one, I can't remember now. What was the other one? Oh yes, Shiny Onion, the onion seller. Every summer, a man would turn up with a beret and be stood on the street corner with a bike full of onions. It would be dripping off the bike. And he'd be going, ho ho, would you not just buy some onions directly from France? Oh, ho ho. But we all knew he came from 3 villages down. And he'd never been to France as in his entire life. So we don't know where he got the onions from. Shiny Onion, the onion seller. But there were loads of them, because I don't think it was the same guy. I don't think his bike was that good to get him around Wales. Is that just a Welsh thing, or did they have that in England? Tell me below. What traditions do you remember that are gone? Look at that. Oh well, it's got a strange colour now, isn't it? I wonder if it's because it's been in the shed all day and it's got a bit hot. I remember once, when I was a kid, a shed down here caught fire during the summer. And it was all because the shed was full of paint. And it got too hot. In fact, saying that now, in London, when was it? About 2 or 3 years ago? An entire village burnt down in London. And that was something to do with a shed of paint, or somebody had a fire that went out of control. What do you think? What does that look like to you? How does that look on the video? Oh, it looks quite good on the video. So, white or a pigeon's just flown in. White or dark green? I'm thinking dark green. Right, I'm going down. Are you coming with me or are you staying there? I just can't stop sneezing this week. Right. Oh, this should be a lot easier because I don't have to. I was just speaking to a friend of mine on text, and they said that wood preserve is a lot thinner than paint because it is soaking into the wood. So that solved that mystery. So it looks like I will have to put a few coats on. Now I was thinking I could save a bit of money and not paint the back wall, because who's going to see it? Where's it going, you know? And plus that's where the compost toilet is going to go when I get around to designing building it. So what's the point? Although I suppose it's to preserve the wood, so I've answered my own question there, haven't I? I am going to paint the side in order to preserve it. Clues in the question, Sean. Wood preserver preserves the wood. For how long? I do not know. As long as I can get the fruit in, I'm going to take my time doing the rest of the garden, because we're going into July now, so there's no point trying to bust a gut to get a load of crops in now. What I will do is I will now concentrate on getting crops in for winter. Winter, yes, that's something I need to learn, is when we get the first frost. When I was a kid, we used to get it in October, but when I left here, it wasn't till second, third week in November. I remember the winters here. We used to get 6 foot of snow on a regular basis, and hardly any pests in the garden, because the cold winters used to kill them all off. And that's the problem we've got now. It doesn't get that sort of coldness where it comes on a Monday and stays for about a fortnight. That's the type of frost we need to kill everything off. That's why there's been an explosion of slugs and snails and everything. So it'll be interesting to get to know the seasons again down here. I think black adds a bit of style. What do you think? I'll be sat outside here in my basket chair. Maybe a pot of flowers or two. A red grape, maybe. Alright, let's move along. Oh. Do you know, I found even by losing the tiny bit of weight that I have, it does make life a bit easier. And the knees haven't hurt as much in the last few weeks. I've fallen off the wagon a bit in the last few days when I had the sting from the bee. But even though I've been eating junk food, I've still kept within my calorie count, and the weight has still gone down. Now, I'm not saying that's a way of losing weight by eating junk food, but eating within your restriction. But I think as long as you don't do it for more than 2 days on the trot, or more than the 1 day, then I think it'll be okay. Because I'm not on a diet. I think that some people are a bit confused. I'm not on a diet, I'm just eating less. Right. Or preservative dry. Let's hope it does preserve it, because this was quite expensive. Well, compared to, you know, what they used to be back in the day. I did look at greenhouses last night, and I'm convinced I could make my own for half the price. Problem is not having a car and having to pay for things to be delivered and then having to stay indoors to wait for them to turn up. I was going to look at the cost of having a car, but I gave up after 3 minutes. I thought it's just a bit too expensive for where I am in life at the moment. Oh, my trip to Tenby is in August. I mentioned in a previous video that it was in July, but I checked and it's in August. Just going for 2 days, I think. That's right, I don't think I've used preservative before. It's the first time. I've always just put paint on my sheds. Using this black or charcoal, it does really make the flowers pop. I had a bed on one of my other plots in front of my black shed, and it really set the colours off. You know, I've started to get stuff through the post now, saying don't forget to put your orders in for your spring bulbs. It's like, let's enjoy some of the summer first before we start thinking about spring. And I'll do my old trick as well. I'll go through the books, I'll highlight what I like, what I want to buy, and then I'll wait until the very end and take a chance on the sales. That's how I've been able to buy so many plants over the last few weeks. Waited for the sales. It's only something like that Juneberry that I paid full price for. Even the sound of the water is making me feel cooler. The sun's gone behind the trees now. It's turning into a nice evening. The problem is the gnats will start biting soon. I've noticed 8:30 and they're out on the dot. Oh, nearly finished anyway. I didn't think I was going to do this when I woke up this morning. I find when I go to a garden or the allotment or to come down here, I found that when I've gone with the intention of just going down and having a potch, that is when I've done a lot of work. I don't do a lot of work when I think I'm going to go down and do a particular task. Right, so I suppose now we need to let this dry and then do another coat. I suppose that's the other decision we have to make. What colour should the door be? Should the door be this black? Or should it be a different colour, like maybe red, like they have out in Scandinavia or in Sweden? I don't know if I'm going to do the whole shed tonight. We'll just see how the mood takes me, isn't it? We'll just have a potch and see how we go. Now I wonder if I could paint the shed with this and then put paint on top of it. Because after all, this is just a preservative. All these questions in life. I've been watching a very good podcast at the moment, and I'll put the link to it below. I can't remember the name of it, but it's with Roman Kemp and his father, Steve Kemp, from Spandau Ballet. And what he's doing is he's made a podcast where he's sat down with his father and they're just having a chat, because he said when his father dies he won't be able to ask him any questions, so he's doing it now and he's recording it to get a podcast out of it, but also to learn a bit more about his father. I think we can all relate to that, because you don't ask the questions, do you? I remember after my father died, I went through his pictures and found a load of pictures of him on a boat in the Navy, which was quite surprising because he couldn't swim. and there was a picture of the Suez Canal. So this would have been in, I don't know, the 50s, I think. Or maybe it was after, I don't know, maybe it was after the war. So he died when he was 64, I think, and that was in the early 90s. So would he have been in the war then? No, I don't think so. But maybe they went to go and clean up afterwards. So yes, he was on this ship, and there are pictures of and writings in a journal about life in Egypt and life at the Suez Canal. And I did try and find out once what it was all about. I contacted the Navy, and they didn't give anything away. I'm thinking about doing a project in the village. Back in the 80s, I interviewed a few people that were in their 80s then, and they were talking about electric light when electric light came to the village, and all the old stories that they had. And I thought I should do that again. So I'm putting together a plan to set up, I've set up the website, which is runthesocialhistory.com. And on there, I'm going to put the interviews with these people. I don't know who they're going to be yet, because I haven't even put the call out for anybody to come forward. But everybody I've met over the last few months, they've all got a story, or they've all got questions, like today. Today's question, when I went to go and collect my eggs, was the railway. And the railway went past the Homestead here. And if you looked at the land now, you wouldn't even think that there was a railway there, because the sidings where the train was were about 30 foot in the air, and now it's just a cornfield on the ground level. So that's something I'm thinking about doing, probably in the winter though. There's too much to do in the summer. But it's all about preserving the memories, because, people are dying off fast. And once they've gone, you'll never discover what they had in their heads. I remember I was looking through a local newspaper years ago, and my uncle died when he was about 12 years old. And I only found this out because I went through a period when I was about 12, 13. I kept seeing things like ghosts. So every time I looked out into the garden, I would see my grandmother walking up and down the path. But I never met her because she died the year before I was born. And in those days, we didn't have pictures, so it wasn't as if I'd seen a picture. But anyway, this particular night, I woke up in the middle of the night, and something told me to go and look at the stairs. So I went out of the bedroom, and I looked down the stairs, and I could see this coffin coming out of the parlour then. Because we always had a room where you only went in when there was a funeral, because that's where the coffin would be. Anyway, I looked down and I saw this coffin, and they couldn't get it out of the room, so they had to come up the stairs a bit. So I asked a few days after what was all that about, and I was told that it was my uncle, who had died when he was young, and they had trouble getting the coffin out, so they had to go up the stairs a bit, open the front door, and then go back out into the street. So I was looking through one of the local papers. I am going to do the door, and then I can always paint it a different colour next time. I was going through the local papers during the lockdown, I think it was. And I just so happened to find a story that involved the same name as my uncle. And when I crossed references, it was actually exactly the same uncle that I had seen on this ghostly experience. And what was interesting was when he was 8, for no apparent reason, somebody walked out of a shop and slapped him across the head, and blood started to come out of the side of his ear. And he went to court, and a witness came forward and said the boy didn't do anything at all. Just the owner of the shop came out, and my uncle John was stood by the horse and cart, and the shop owner just slapped him across the head. So much so that he fell on the floor. My uncle now, not the shop owner. So he got seen by a doctor, and they said everything was fine. And the whole thing went to court. And his parents, my uncle's parents, or what's that, my grandmother and grandfather, they had compensation, but in those days compensation was like a shilling, like 5p, and the knowledge that the boy didn't do anything wrong. So I've got no idea whether his death had anything to do with this hit, but I thought, isn't that amazing how I was looking through random papers from 1930s or 1930s it would have been, and saw this story. It was as if I was drawn to it by the spirits. I've had quite a few experiences over the years, and again I might go into that in a video in the future. Right, I've run out of preserve now. Let me just go and get some more, and I'll be back in a bit. Maybe we'll have a commercial break. With a camera. It's a nice relaxing time, isn't it? Somebody asked me, why do I keep pulling my t-shirt? Because the microphone is down there, and sometimes it can go in the wrong direction, so I have to pull I may just buy a bit of string to put around my neck to see if that helps. Yes, we're coming up to 6 months of being in Wales, so I'll do quite a few videos in July talking about that. Right, I think I'm just going to do this side and then I'm going to finish, because on the other side are all the plants and I haven't got the energy to move them all. I've kept them there because I don't want them to be in full sunshine just yet. Not until they're in the ground. Yeah, so tomorrow I'm going down to Screwfix to get the downpipe. Now that the water butt has turned up, just bought the downpipe bits and bobs. I must say it was expensive. It's a dear do trying to set up a garden. I'll be glad when it's finished, to be honest with you. And we can have time just to enjoy the space. Oh, my back's hurting now. I think tonight will be a night for putting the fan on in the bedroom, and maybe just going to bed with your socks on. I haven't had any food this evening, so I think I will have a chicken salad. Right, I must make sure paint doesn't get on the lock, because I need to go in there before I go home. Oh, they were giving out free bananas today in the village. There was a race on Sunday, which I did want to go and film it. But when I woke up, I wasn't in the mood. There was a race called the Dragon Race, and it was going through the village and going up the mountains and going all over the place. But I couldn't find out what time they were coming through the village, and I thought, I'm not going to stand there for hours just for a 20-second shot. Back in the day, I would have done that. I would have stayed there for hours and hours just to get that one shot. Right, I've got to make sure I don't get paint on you. Oh, better do that bit as well, isn't it? If it's about preserve. Do you have to do the roof as well? Although, I'm going to put plastic on there. I'll explain about that in a future video, because I can't find it. It is down here somewhere, I was told by a friend of mine, but I can't find it myself. And I was worried I wasn't going to get a video out today, and then I came up with this idea, because I'm trying to do a video 4 times a week for a month. Because the problem with this game is YouTube is like an animal, and you've got to keep on feeding it and feeding it. And if you take any time off, it stops the growth of the channel. We've been asking for years for a feature that we could just press a button and say we're on vacation for a few days, so that when you go and have a look, it just says Sean's on a holiday for a fortnight, and then it freezes all the progress, so that when you then start back up again, you don't lose any of the momentum. But we've asked and asked for years, and they haven't given it. My back. I wonder if there's a device that you can put around your neck and have like a pot of paint just hanging in front of your chest. Yeah, we've come up with an invention. Then. You heard it here first. I'll be on Dragon's Den within the year. My friend came up with an invention and he tried to get on there, but they said no. It was a holder for your French bread. It was a holder to stop you from bending your French bread. He said, who wants to wake up and discover their French bread has been bent? But he didn't even get on the show. One of the local cafes here put out a Facebook post this evening to say it was so hot in the kitchens today that tomorrow they're not going to cook. Everything's going to be cold. It's going to be salads, no breakfasts, because they said they're not going to stand in the kitchen all day. And their cakes were starting to melt today. It was so hot. So it's all cold foods. I thought he's put that out to tell the customers he's not going to do it, and I guarantee you'll wake up tomorrow and it'll be freezing and he'll be putting on soups. Because this heat wave, I think, is only here for a day. Right, I'm trying not to do the hinge, but oh, there you go. It's on some of it. Well, it might give it a bit of oil. Right, can you see down here? Or have I gone out of shot? Right. Shall we? Let's go down. So if I get the downpipe tomorrow, and this glass perspex thing turns up at the end of the week, and the shed is finished. Something to tick off the list. Oh, but obviously I'm going to have to paint this again, aren't I? But at least I've done it once. Once is better than not doing it at all. Not long now to Christmas. It's quite knotty, this wood. I need to get into roast vegetables. I used to do it when I was in London, but I haven't done it for quite a while. Because I've got some peppers. Shall I do that tonight? No, I'll just have something cold tonight. I'm going to have to go home soon though, because the cats will want to go out for an evening stroll. Isn't it strange how you make a garden for a cat and they prefer to go next door instead? Just next door and go to sleep in the grass. I've got no idea how long this has taken, so if you're still watching, put in the comments, paint your wagon. Paint your wagon pink. There you are. Put that in the comments if you're still watching the video. Paint your wagon pink. And then people who have skipped through will be thinking, what the hell is this about? Paint your wagon pink. Don't throw bouquets at me. Don't need laugh at my jokes too much. Don't know. Isn't it strange how you sing a song when you're a kid endlessly? That was one of the songs I used to sing going around the clubs and in the theatre, and now I can't remember the words. People will say we're in love. Oh, the one song I sang to death. Every time there was a concert, they would go and sing that song. Was some enchanted evening, you may see a stranger. You may see a stranger across a crowded room. Oh. And then you couldn't get up to say hello. Oh. I'm on a slant here, so I'm about to fall, I think. Oh. There you go, don't fight it. Yes, so we've got an ice cream man going around the streets, but he doesn't stop him in my street, so maybe that's good. So by the time I hear the bells and I get my money and I go out, he's gone. Nearly finished. Nova Scotia is a place I would like to go to visit, again because I've watched Tyler and Todd, and also because I have a lot of viewers from the Nova Scotia area. So who knows? I was watching a show a few months ago of two British guys who had gone over there and they were going to open a hotel. I don't know if they did succeed in the end, but they couldn't cope with the weather. Justin and somebody, I can't remember now, they were quite famous here in the 90s. Right, oh, so there's that bit as well. Yes, when you thought it was safe to go home. I would like to learn a bit of bricklaying. I do like this coal frame behind me, and I did contemplate the other night possibly building my own, when I do the greenhouse, about putting a base up to about 3 foot of brick. But I don't think I'm going to. I'll stick to wood. I know wood and wood knows me. I sent off for some samples the other day of some brick cladding, just to have a look, because I was thinking about trying to attach it to the wood to make it look like brick. So I sent off for 2 samples at £7, and they've ended up sending me the order twice. So now I've got quite a few bricks. I remember my grandmother's house. She had a brick wallpaper in the kitchen. And that's where I learnt brick wallpaper. You got to have a look at the shadow, because a few people will put the paper upside down. The shadow must always be at the bottom of the design. And I remember going somewhere in London. Something bugged me about this wall, and then I discovered the paper was on upside down. Right, there we are then. What do you think to that? Better take my brushes home, give them a wash. Right, next trick is to get up. So that's one side. That's the other side. I haven't even thought about whether I'm going to paint the inside. What do you think I should do? And then if I do paint it inside, what colour? I knew somebody who painted his bedroom black once. That wasn't me. Maybe a cream colour to lighten it up. Or maybe I should wait and do the inside in September, and then that would have given me time to build the seating and the sheds, not the seating, the kitchen area and things like that. Let's just try and get rid of the last of this paint. Preservative, I keep calling it paint. I suppose it doesn't mind, but you've got to identify things correctly these days. Again, we had a discussion about that in the cafe the other day. There was a group of people saying, I don't get all this stuff, you've got to be identified as his, he, him, her, a cat. And I said, well, it doesn't bother me, so I'll just, in fact, when people are introduced, I do make a point of saying what you like to be called. Because, you know, if your name is Steve, it could be Steve, Stephen, Steve-o. And if you don't ask, then you don't know. But you shouldn't be told off if you get it wrong on the first meeting, on the first encounter. It's like that old story about, I've been calling my neighbour Dave for the last 55 years, and it was only at his funeral that I realised his name was Tom. Right, use the last of this up now, and then I won't waste any when I come to drying it out. Let's have a step back and have a look how it looks. Looks bloody beautiful. Do this side down here. So I wonder, the question is then, how many coats do you give it? Do you give it as many coats as it then starts to look smooth, or it starts to look dark black? Maybe I should just read the box that came with it. But that's not what we do, is it? Right, nearly there. And then you can all go home. You can all go home and paint your wagons pink. There we go. And haven't wasted any whatsoever. There you go. Nothing there now. Beautiful. Well, thanks for joining me, for wasting time as we paint the shed and have a chit and a chatter. And I'll catch up with you next time, when we'll probably be putting the downpipe on and whatever else I get up to in life. I'll see you then. So from me until then, bye for now. I like that. I really do. Right, take that home to clean. Oh, I feel like I've walked for miles. I know how the drovers feel now. Right, the wind is starting to pick up, so I'm probably not going to fix it today. But who knows? I might change my mind and it'll be done in 10 minutes. Right, let's have a sit down and relax. Right, I can't stay too long down here because I've got raw chicken in my bag. All these are the gubbins for the downpipe. I also bought a saw because I work in feet and inches, and I thought I'm going to get it wrong. So this basket, I can't remember if I've told you, so I'm going to tell you again. This basket is for when we go and collect wimberries off the mountain. I want to do it after a shower of rain, so they're nice and juicy. But I'm hearing people in the village are telling me they've already been up there, so I might have to do it sooner than later. And this is a pot. Do you remember the old magic pot? That's for my cow. And that has the chicken in. It's a good job I looked, otherwise I would have thought I'd left it. I put it in there because that's uncooked. And I have some cooked bit of ham there outside, so I will take that home. But I'm just going to sit here for a bit. If I had a kettle, I'd have a cup of tea, but I'm just going to sit here and relax. Maybe even have 40 winks. I've just turned up, and the smell of that Chandos Beauty rose is beautiful. Now the perspex has turned up, but I was just thought, seeing as it's a nice dry sunny day, I may as well paint all this first and then put the perspex in, and you'll be able to see which colour I got. I'll also give this another coat, I think, just to make it a bit thicker. Right. Oh, hello. Looks a bit bright in the tin. Looks a lot brighter than I thought. Let's hope it rainforest green. No, I didn't put any stain on this first. I thought I would just paint it. I must say, this is looking bright. Maybe it'll calm down. Now I could have gone for the paint that it was the same colour as the gate, but I thought, oh, I've just had a thought now. It was £15, and I thought I'm not spending £15 on just getting a bit of paint that I'm only going to use to do this. But thinking about it now, if I got it, I could have painted the gate as well, give that a new fresh coat. So maybe I've made a boo-boo there. I was going to go for cheap, and I might have turned out more expensive in the long run, because I would like to get some paint to do that. I completely forgot about that. Oh well, the damage has been done now. The tin is open. Let's just see how this looks. Garden paint, 10-year protection for sheds, metal and stonework. May as well do this side as well. Do a good job on all that. Although it would have been easier if I'd taken it off the hinges. But why do things easy when you can do them the hard way? Look at that. Obviously, I need to put the trim on there, but let's look inside. That looks gorgeous. Right, I'm going to pop home and I'll have a cup of tea and have something to eat. So I will catch up with you in the next one. So from until then, bye for now. Beautiful. I love that colour now.